Hello and welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. Coach B here with the fellas, most of them. LB, what's happening, my guy?
All right, my friend.
Charles, how are you, sir?
I am outstandingly excellent today.
Damn it, I was going wonderfully. Seriously, I wrote it down.
Yes,
I
yeah.
wrote it down.
He keeping us on our feet, that's for sure.
Guessing. I'm gonna throw him off next week, LB, for sure. Yeah, good to see you guys. Wasn't here last week, had some audio issues. Hopefully we're good to go now going forward. I got an interesting one today, and I put it together based on a conversation I had with my good friend Claude from the Golf DMV podcast. So I'm gonna tell you how that went, and then you guys just jump in. And this is something, Charles, that Freddie's not here, but LB, this example, LB is gonna be the only one who can validate what I'm about to say because he's the only one that has hair. So what I mean by that is Claude went to his regular barbershop like normal.
Of course. Good guy.
And apparently what he's seeing is a trend. And what he's seeing in the trend is that all the cats in the barbershop were sitting there and they had their head in the phone. Now, it's been a while, since I've been. But when I used to go, I found it a place of enjoyment. I mean, there was conversation. We had cats coming in off the street selling sandwiches and hats and shirts.
CDs, yep.
Yes. And so Claude seemed a little disappointed because he's like, man, I'm in the barbershop with the same crew, and he sees this all the time. So what I decided to do was say, okay, let's broaden it. And let's talk today about, hey, Freddie, welcome. Let's talk today about, what I like to call, put the phone down, right? And so I threw out a couple of things, and I'm just gonna be like an open forum today. But I threw out a couple of instances where I'm looking at this in two phases, LB, right? I'm looking at put the phone down, and then times just to shut up and not be on the phone. Sometimes those are different. Yeah. So apparently, in the world of the barbershop, he's seeing more of that. So in Freddie goes to the barbershop regularly too. So I'm gonna start with you two guys. Is Claude's concern valid based on what you see when you go to the barbershop?
Yeah, 100%. I'll start, Freddie. The barbershop I'm going to now, it's an appointment only, and so there's very few people just sitting around like it used to be back in the day.
Oh, okay. Oh, you coming in, you getting cut, you gone.
Right. So in this case, most of the time I'm in there by myself, just me and the barber. Every once in a while, somebody will come in a little early or whatever, and there might be one person else in the barbershop. And yeah, they will go most time pull their phone out immediately. Side note, I had to go get blood work for my physical that I had today, which came back glowing. Thank you all for your concern. And when I go in places like that now, I purposely don't use my phone because I want to watch everybody else use their phone. And so I went to LabCorp. Everybody knows about LabCorp. I went in there, had an appointment, everything. I go in there, the place is packed. Every seat is taken except for maybe one. So it's probably 20 people in there. I was the only person who didn't have a phone in their hand.
Jeez.
The only person. There was a guy he was an older guy. He was had a walker. Right. So somebody's helping him in, they get him seated and they go check him in and everything. But she comes back from checking him in. He's on his phone. This guy's 80 something years old. And even he's on his phone.
I'm going to give him a pass.
Kids that are waiting with their parents got their own iPads or some kind of device. Right. They're on their phone. Nobody's talking amongst themselves. Everybody faces in their phone.
Wow. Freddie, you go to the barbershop pretty regular. Is your situation similar in that I know you do appointments and such, right? But when you get there, are there other patrons there? And if so, is the conversation flowing, man to man, or is it, everybody for themselves on the phone?
It's a mixed bag. The one with the appointments is pretty much, you're there and that's your time and you get cut and you out. Yeah. The one that's closer to home, some days, I personally, I go in and, most of the time when I walk in, I'm next in the chair. But there's some days I don't want to be bothered. If I don't want to be bothered, I'm looking at my phone. Don't say nothing to me. I'm just here to get this cut and be out. And
You'll be
I ain't here to
welcome at
fellowship. I'm here for
you'll be
a
welcome.
haircut.
Yeah, you'll be welcome at Claude's barbershop then. Yeah.
you know, um, sometimes I mean, I'm just here. But one thing about the barbershop, I mean, we talk about everything. We talk about sports.
Yeah.
I mean, one time, a couple months ago, my barber, he actually betted me that Bronny James scored, I think, 59 points in a G League game this past season, and I knew he didn't. Right. So needless to say, I got a couple free haircuts off him. But it's just one of those things that the discussions in the barber shop, they can go left, they can go right,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah.
just
Yeah, they can
because a
get
lot of
political,
time,
right?
it with all topics. And so I think also you have to know the culture and the nature of the barbershop to where sometimes it's good to engage in the banter, and then sometimes it's just like, yo, these do some on some other stuff today. I ain't with it. I'm just here to get my cut. Make sure you don't mess me up, because sometimes the conversation can get too good, and then somebody they got
Yeah.
you right. So it's just me personally. It depends on what the conversation is. But me, I'm perfectly fine with people coming in, getting on their phone now. I don't have a problem with it at the barbershop.
But the one thing I will say that I do have a problem with is people who have conversations on their phone. It's one
Yeah,
thing to
that's
be
yeah, I agree.
yeah, to be
And
on your phone and be scrolling or whatever, reading an article, whatever, quietly
yeah,
to
and
yourself. That's
that's the
fine.
difference, LB. I mean,
Right.
to your point, right? There's places where I just think you need to put it down, and in other places, public, especially to your point, LB, you can't be having these conversations. We're going to get into a couple of those. Charles, I sent out a list of just a couple of places that I think you should just put the phone down. Church, funeral. Was at a funeral last week, and I'm hearing phones ringing. I'm like,
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
that what we're doing here, folks? Right?
Yeah.
Work meetings. That's important to me, even when virtual. I wrote that one down for Charles because he was the guiltiest of people who you call your meeting and you hear this awkward silence. I'm like, Charles, but he's in his phone, right? Doing something else because in
Right.
his world, he's all that important. He's got all these things going.
Multitasking.
I believe that if you called the meeting, and I don't care who you are or why we're here, out of respect, if I accept it, I'm here for that. It doesn't mean that if the phone rang right now that I wouldn't peek and check it. But I'm not going to visibly be sitting here listening to Freddie, explain to me what his barbershop situation is while I'm sitting there looking at ESPN, for example. Also, Charles, I had restaurants when dining with friends and family that bugged public restrooms and the dinner table. So give me something what you see with any of those, Charles, or any of your own regarding just where people should put the phone down.
I mean, I honestly I agree with all of these, right? Basically, because you're correct. You the foam has become such uh, a dominant companion with people, right? And you go in a restaurant, whole family, they're not even talking to each other.
Right.
Everybody's on the phone. Everybody's on the phone, right? I make it a point of, obviously when, I've ever met you guys out in public, right? One, I don't even bring my phone in. I leave it in the car, right? And the only reason I have it on me is because I need to find out where we're going to, right? And so, because when I get there, I want to actually have a conversation. I'm old enough to still want to have conversations.
Right.
I don't want to call on the phone. My daughter just she texted me today and I texted her back. She said, "Oh my God, you text me straight back," right? Because I don't like texting, right? If you want to talk to me, call me. Call me and let's talk, right? And I know you guys were talking about barbershop, and obviously I have no hair, right? The last time I actually was in a barbershop, there wasn't no such thing as cell phones. So,
Jeez, okay. Well, I'm more current than he is, right? And here's the thing, Charles. You said something that makes me wonder, and I'd have to throw this out to LB as well. If it's part of us just being from a certain generation. You know, it may be generational because, to Charles's point, LB, we grew up without these devices. We have adapted to them, but my children, my grandchildren, they grew up with smart devices or these things that are attached. And the same way that, you know, in elementary school they don't teach you how to write cursive anymore, blows my mind. It's pretty much accepted, like Charles is saying, everybody has a device. And I wonder if it's causing us as people to just grow further and further apart. You
100%.
all see people, if you're online as much as I am, for example, I'll post a video from the photography channel and I may be teaching something, but there's always somebody that's going to get in the comments taking shots. Someone I don't know. And it's like, okay, if you don't like what I'm teaching, then just don't watch. But people get, you know, different when they're behind an electronic device. Yes. And, you know, like the phone and stuff. So I've seen it one time, Charles, me and LB and Coach was, we were at a dinner and LB pointed at the table next to us, and it was a couple. And they were both, I mean, the whole time face in the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking y'all could just eat at home. You come to Capitol Grill and look at your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe they got pissed off at each other on the way to the restaurant.
Then we're gonna keep going home, Freddie. I ain't going to pay $300.
Exactly. I'm gonna spend $150 for dinner to sit there and be mad at you. Nah, we're not doing that.
Nah.
LB, I'm gonna turn to you, LB, because you mentioned this before in terms of, you know, pivoting to just where not to talk. And the first one on my list, also, you can't see my screen, but it has a picture of Charles. People who talk on the phone on the golf course. No, and he will have whole meetings. LB, me and Ed have left him at a hole. You know, one, because it's messing our game because we're waiting, but two, if you know Charles, and we know him and love him, his voice carries. And if you think about a golf course, why do you think people on the 12th hole at the Masters could hear the people on the 7th and you hear the play? It carries. So Charles just seems to be oblivious to the other people on the golf trip. I'm saying, yes, take the call. Your phone is in there. You know, do a text. But give me some examples, LB, of where people just need to stop talking on the phone at that time.
I was in a concert this past week, and
that's a good one.
Yeah, and there were people on their phone. Well, they kind of messed up the people, the venue, because they said they wanted you to take pictures and post them. You couldn't take video, but they wanted still shots. Now you've told everybody, get your phones out and do stuff. You know what I mean? So there were people who wanted to sing, which I didn't come here. I ain't paid $75 to listen to you.
That's always horrible.
I know, right? But yeah, so there were people on their phone, and you heard a couple, hey, you know, and then they, you know, got it together and put their phones down. I was at a memorial service last week. Same thing. You talk about the funeral, phones ringing. I mean, come on. Why do we have to tell you? Why do we have to tell you to turn your phone off at a funeral, memorial service, anything church, anything that's supposed to have some respect for?
Yeah.
You know, this person, you came here because somebody died that you know.
Right.
They ain't like them.
Then why'd you come? Right.
You know what I'm saying?
To see if they did.
Verify, right? Yeah, they did. So those are the three places that honestly, any place I am in public where I can hear your conversation, I think you should be on your phone.
Yeah.
I'm in line at the grocery store.
That's a good one.
I'm behind you. Your phone ring. You can't check out now because you got one hand in your phone and your other hand you're trying to get your money out. Blah blah blah. You know, and then people looking at you like, "Come on, man! Can't you just say I call you back?" Oh, hold on. Put them on hold for 30 seconds while you pay to do your transaction.
Let it go to voicemail. Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and I'm just tired of people's conversations in general, because most of the people ain't talking about shit no way. You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of a form of disrespect to everyone. It's one thing if I call you at the store and I was like, yo, make sure you pick up some Cheez-Its. I'm out. And you're like, oh, okay. But for
Got
the
you
most
done.
part, I would
Yep.
call you with that instead of text you because you might not hear it. But
Yep.
what I'm seeing is people who will walk up every aisle and they're in a full blown conversation
Yeah.
about mama and them or sister or whatever.
Girl.
And you're right, you know. And then when you see the people that don't even have the good earbuds, so they got the phone kind of cockeyed in the shoulder, up in the shelf, trying to get something. It doesn't make sense to me. Now,
Right. You can't. And I'm sorry, but you can't. If you on the phone, you can't even enjoy your shopping experience now because you got the phone in your hand, or you know what I mean. You can't concentrate on what you're doing because you engage in this conversation. You know,
let me ask you guys this: does it change? Will it, or is this?
no, it's not
So
going to change.
I'm basically the guy saying, "Get off my lawn," is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's not going to change because, like you're saying, everybody now, anybody born in like 70, 80 on, the phone it may as well be sold onto their hand. You know what I mean? So it's not going to change. It's going to get worse and worse. They already talking about implanting stuff in people's bodies now. So I mean, no, it's not going to change. Mm-mm.
Wow.
First Amendment, freedom of speech.
One thing that you mentioned, LB, that I thought about too, and I put on the list. When I say doctor's office, I'm okay if you're in the doctor's office playing a game on your phone. I'm not okay if you're in the doctor's office having a conversation. Because to your point, there's 20 of us, we're sitting shoulder to shoulder. And for me, I mean, average wait's never more than 10 minutes anyway. So I'm fine with that. This is like Charles talking about. I just turn the thing off and it's in the truck. I'm good. I got nobody I want to call. I don't want to see stuff going on at work. But when I think about, you talked about that age group, LB, I mean, isn't Claude in that group? You know, like is he like Freddie's age, somewhere in that range, right?
Yes,
How old are you? Freddie, you're not 50 yet, so
Claude's low to mid 40s, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But
he's an old soul too.
I was going to say that too, because that's the same thing D said. She said, yeah, but Claude's an old soul though. And it's true. If you know him, you know that he is. So the other thing I was going to ask too, because you guys all go to the movies. Is it still a thing in the movies with phones and ringing, or do they at least make you turn them off going in there?
I can't stand that. I cannot stand that. Right? Why? I mean, and that's the first thing they bring on. That's the first.
The first thing.
That's the first. That's at the end of the trailers, right? It talks.
Oh, they still do the thing with a little cartoon comes.
Yes, exactly. And they're basically telling you don't. Touch your phone. They got all kind of ways of doing it now, right? But still. They still have to remind people of that, and still people. And if somebody's near me, if somebody's next to me and they have their phone out, I just challenge them. I tell them, I said, "Hey, look at this. Can you put your phone up?" Right? Because I don't want to see the light in your phone.
The blue light. Yeah.
But that's probably the same person though who didn't use advanced seating and could be sitting somewhere anyway. They're still sitting next to you, even though there's 28 seats in the theater in the first place. They need to be challenged for stupidity because they could be somewhere else in the theater on their phone, not bothering.
And nobody would care. Yeah.
Nobody would care.
Well, you still got one. I think it's still one place that phones are just not, they're taboo. You just don't do them, and that's the library, right? A lot of people don't go to the library anymore, right? Because you can read books online and stuff, but still got some people that actually go to the library, and that's one place that still you can't, you don't go in there and you automatically turn your phone off. You automatically turn your phone off, or you don't bring it in at all, right? But
I think because it's enforced at libraries.
It is totally enforced.
It's enforced.
Right. To that point, though, Freddie, could it be enforced anywhere else?
I really don't think so, to be honest with you. I outside of a library, I don't think you can really enforce it.
I've seen it done at private concerts.
Well,
small ones, where they make you put the phone in a box and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's different. Put it in the thing, and they tell you that prior to before you even go in. So if you don't want to comply, you ain't coming in, right? But I think that you probably can't. At the movie theaters, do I care if you talking on your phone at a low voice? During the credits? Nah, not really. Now once the movie comes on, I don't care if you got it out as long as you is down. You know why? Because my eyes are on the screen. Yeah, it might distract me a little bit, but it's not gonna, distract me too much from the main screen. But I do think people, while you shouldn't have it out, while the movie is playing, um, I do think people should be considerate of others,
Common
right?
courtesy, common
Um,
courtesy. It has evaporated. It has
Disappeared. Yes.
absolutely gone away.
Mm,
Right?
mm.
People just don't have common courtesy anymore. It's like everything in life, right? Driving. Let's just take driving for example, right? Having a license is a privilege. It's not a right, but we treat it as it's our right to drive, right? And this is how basically with cell phones, it's their they have it. It's their right to bring it out anywhere they need to or want to bring it out, right? And common courtesy has just basically went out the window.
But
I
that
would-
that
well,
part, I'll get right to you, LB. I
you're a
think that part though,
violator of that,
Charles, is like the key to that though, Charles, is that goes back to something I think LB mentioned like a couple of months ago. That's not tied to just cell phones. That's systemic. That's people not holding the door. That's people not saying thank you. That's people just not being courteous in general. So if they're already of that mindset, I don't think being on the phone in a public place is going to impact them. Yeah, LB.
Yeah, so I remember a couple of years ago, I had to go to court, and
Was it for
judge,
speeding past Freddie? I'm just curious.
or somebody like Freddie, yes. And the judge was, they talked about that before court got started. Turn these phones off. Turn these phones off. Blah 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 blah. Court's going in session. Blah blah. Somebody's phone rings in the back.
Oh.
Everything stopped. The what they call the officer
bailiff?
up front.
Yeah, the bailiff.
Beeline for that person. You come in. Took him outside.
I like that though.
Yes.
You
yes.
telling me that
And
after they gave instructions,
Yep.
instead of just silencing the phone, your
yeah.
phone or somebody's phone goes off and the bailiff has to escort you out?
Yep.
Good on.
And then you saw everybody like double checking their phone.
I mean, I don't know what court that was, but the last time I was in court, and when you go to Loudoun County Courthouse, when you walk in, hey, they give you a key and you locking it up in the little.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's not
Oh, yeah.
going into the courthouse.
It depending on what court you're going in.
That's true, Freddie. Yeah.
Wow,
But that might be
I like
why
that.
in
I like
LB's
that.
case
And
that they mentioned it because they may not have that. But if the judge is doing it, the time to do it is when he or she says it. Just silence the phone.
Ain't nobody. I used to tell people this stuff at work. I say, no, ain't nobody in here no doctor. Ain't nobody in here no surgeon. We ain't saving nobody's life. Whatever it is, we can get to it in an hour when this thing is over. Come on, y'all. We're not that important. You're not that important.
There's no substitute from just common courtesy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking for anything unique. It's just regular common courtesy, and I'm seeing less and less of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I told my doctor today the story. We were on a cruise ship, and we're getting ready to get on the elevators. Me, Carol, and this little kid about 12. So we all three are waiting for the elevator. The elevator opens up. He just jumps right in front of us and gets in the elevator. So I said, hey, man. I said, didn't you see this lady standing here? He's like, huh? I said, didn't you see this lady standing here? You supposed to wait and let her get on the elevator first, and then you get on. So I said, do you have a girlfriend? He said, no. I said, well, you'll never get one if you treat women like this.
You mess with somebody's child.
Hey,
right.
LB, you worse than me, man. I had that same situation happen in a movie theater, right? When you used to have to wait in line, right? When a movie came out, right, and a good one come out, and you had to wait in line, right, for an hour, right? And I had this couple come and cut right in front of us.
Oh wow!
Right, because their friend was there. So they came up there and they started talking, right? And they stayed
just
there.
slide on in.
Just went there. Yeah, they slide on. I was like, y'all need to go back to the back of the line. You say, hey, this is our friend. I said, I don't care.
You can go back there with him, friend.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go back to the back of the line. Right. And they did. Yeah, they did. But it's just, again, common courtesy, right?
Yeah.
We are, it started way back, obviously when I was much younger in my 40s and 30s, right? And now it's like almost non-existent.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Yeah.
non-existent.
Because
People and
the parents are so young nowadays. They weren't taught anything, so
yes,
they don't teach their kids
yes,
anything. You know what I mean? So
yes.
it's gonna get progressively worse because the older people now, when I say older, the
You mean
40s,
younger,
the
older?
30s, and the
Yeah.
40-year-olds now that are having kids, they don't know jack. You know, because a lot of our peers like reverted from what they were taught by their parents. Oh, my parents were too strict, so I'm not gonna make my
Yes,
kids do the
yes,
stuff that I
yes,
had to do, or
yes,
yeah,
yes.
abide by the rules I had to abide by. So they let
Yes.
their kids run wild, and now they can't control their kids, and then those kids are having kids. So it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And I see Freddie rolling your eyes. I understand, but
No,
it's the truth.
He's
It's
of
the
a
truth.
certain age.
the world as we live in, and I wasn't wrong. I think the world that we live in now is so much tougher, right? It's less sensitive in general. You know,
Agree.
You mean like more
and when
rude?
no, I don't mean from a from a rudeness perspective, but when you see what company was it? Was it Amazon that just laid off 1,000 people last week or something like that? That's what I mean. The world is less sensitive.
It's cruel.
It's
It's cruel.
more cutthroat to
That's
where
100% true. Yeah.
everything it bleeds into everything. So the days of you know, being in your feelings because somebody cuts in front of you in line or whatever. Now it's to a point you cut them, hey, my man, you get to the back, you get shot. That's just the world that we live in. So then my thought process is like, when you see somebody and all that stuff, I'm not saying just in general, but it's just the world that we live in. Everybody has become so desensitized to everything
Mm-hmm.
to where it's all about me in this moment, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish, or whatever, to where we're not, being considerate of our fellow man. And let's just be honest, the world is not that sensitive anymore,
Oh,
right?
I agree. I agree. And I think LB hit something though. I mean, if you look at the volume of negativity that a young child sees today, just on television or streaming or
Mhm.
whatever, they become desensitized so early
Yeah.
that they see blood, pain, violence, all that, and it just becomes the norm. So if something happens to a family member, they're like, "Well, why are you tripping?" They're just kind of they're not that way. I think we come from a place where we were taught to care. One, we weren't immersed in that much violence. Definitely not at such a young age.
Right.
Today I think you're right, Freddie. I think it is more indicative of what society is like. I guess I just miss the old days. So hang in there,
Yeah.
Claude.
Yeah.
Hang in there, my friend. Maybe start making some appointments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that you can, it's interesting that somebody of his age starts to see that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to cover today. As always, let me check and see who's got something to say. I'm gonna start with you, Charles. What you got to say today, man?
I was just thinking about the pioneers that basically kind of were the forerunners of making helping us as a race out in this particular time. Um, and I was going back to tennis because I'm a big tennis fan, right? And one person that I think that doesn't get a lot of recognition is Althea Gibson, right? She was one of the pioneers, right,
100%.
for
Yeah.
blacks actually being in tennis, right? And when when that was totally unpopular, right? So I was kind of thinking about basically because I was looking at tennis on the Tennis Channel today, and the young girl from I can't think of her name right now, from Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're calling her the next Serena Williams, right? Because
A little early for that, but she's good.
yeah, yeah, she's got a nice game. She's got a nice game, but for to get to where she's at right now, Thea really kind of started all that stuff. So that's my thought for today.
LB, what you got for me today, man?
Honestly, I don't have anything other than the world sucks. But other than that,
okay. On
let's
that
keep moving.
positive note, Freddie, yeah, give me something, man.
Politics, man, it's trash, just trash.
Yeah. To LB's point, earlier statement when he said, "Yeah, Freddie, I saw you rolling your eyes." You're like the third person that told me that this calendar year, and really, I think rolling your eyes, I think that's kind of like a feminine thing. So I don't do that.
I
But
take
if
it
you
back, Freddie. I'm not
no,
calling
no,
you
no, no,
feminine.
He
no,
just
no,
told you what happened when you
no, no,
criticize
no, no.
somebody.
I'm giving you like when if someone sees me and they say, "Oh, you're rolling your eyes," after you say something, I'm actually trying to visualize it in my head
Okay.
what you're saying to see if is this right or are you
Cutie.
full of shit,
Okay.
right? I'm literally trying. I'm like, what? What?
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm
Gotcha.
actually trying
Okay.
to
All right.
visualize.
All
So I'm
right.
a visual thinker. So
I got something to say. I want to shout out a baseball coach, LSU men's baseball coach. His name is Jay Johnson. Coach Johnson was hired in 2021. Since that time, they've won 2 natties in 2023 and 2025. I'm shouting out Coach Johnson because last week his team lost a game to Texas A&M, and his press conference made me stand up and applaud
Wow.
because he did not make excuses for his $1 million babies. He called their asses out and he said, "This is a different game." And basically, what he said was they won in 25. He relied a little too heavily on the portal and it bit him. Now, if you know anything about baseball, the two
you
big
say
stats,
one in
obviously.
25,
Hmm?
1 in 25, or 25 and one.
No. I'm saying he won one in 2025 and in
One in
Okay,
2023.
okay, okay.
But in baseball, people are getting hung up with the analytics too much. And that's kind of what he's saying. People worry about exit velocity, home runs and stuff. And he said the reason we lost to Texas A&M is because they had professional at-bats. They wanted to get singles. They wanted to advance the ball. They weren't thinking of themselves, but he took full responsibility for it. But I like the fact that he called them out. He basically said, this is an era of $1 million kids. If you want to get paid $1 million, grow up. In sports, you should be able to do the fundamentals. And to Coach Johnson's point, you should be able to hit a single, steal a base, catch a ball. I'm talking about fundamentals. In football, if you're that wide receiver, don't drop the ball that hits you in the chest.
Right.
In basketball, if you got a wide open layup, instead of throwing it out to the 3 for the glory play, make the damn layup.
Right.
His point is, and he wasn't just some dude on a losing team. Like I say, he's the highest paid college baseball coach in America. And he's saying, my bad for going to the nil to pick y'all sorry asses up this year. But he is holding them responsible. He's not making excuses for them. And I see a lot of programs that when the kids mess up, it's like, oh, well, sorry. And we're talking about fundamental things. He was not asking them to scale the fence and make a Sports Center top 10. He's basically saying we can't do a routine double play. We can't get a routine single. Situations where we're supposed to bunt, kids are swinging for the fence for a home run, and they're popping out the shortstop.
Right. Yeah.
So I found that quite refreshing. You know, and they say when you reach a certain age, if you start standing up to watch TV, I'm that guy. I found myself standing up in front of TV talking to it.
Yelling and screaming, pointing.
Yeah. But he was actually wearing the colors that LB has on right now. So shout out to Coach Johnson for holding them kids accountable. And the fact that he is such a winner, no one's going to punk him. He's not going to get fired for calling his team out like some coaches have in the past. So yeah, good on him. So that's all we got time for. What I will ask the audience to do is if you got some situations where you think the phone should be put down or some public places that conversations are going on, maybe not even public, maybe in your own home, hit us up in the comments and let us know. We'll share it with the group. And if we get enough of them, we'll be sure to bring those up when we come back. Until then, hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys next week.